Welcome back, everybody. Last time I went over my gripes with the iPhone SE and how redundant it is, but today it's time for a different kind of review. Say hello to someone who has, a few more subscribers than me, Supermatic64.
Hello. We're going to be talking about a game that came out in 2006, so you probably never heard of it, but it's called, are you ready? Wii Sports.
Wii Sports is a game that everyone has experienced at some point in their lives, but today we are here to answer two questions. 1. How well does Wii Sports hold up as a game in 2020? And 2. Do the motion controls work against this game or in its favor? So, let's waste no time and get right to it. This is the One Guide to Plumbers and Supermatic64 Wii Sports collaboration.
When Nintendo was making their next home console, the Revolution, they wanted to make a simple game to go with it. It was a sports compilation because everyone could understand it. And then the Revolution was renamed the Wii. But why the Wii? That's why I do in the bathroom, not play with.
When the game came out, it was an instant hit, and was the system seller Nintendo intended for, even if finding a Wii at launch was harder than finding a needle in a haystack. Recently, the game has been booming in popularity due to the crisis that the world is going through right now, leaving everyone at home during quarantine with their families. Thus, many people wanted to buy the game again, and the price instantly went up. But more importantly, I'd like to quickly address the elephant in the room. Of course, because of quarantine, Maddox and I weren't able to come together to record footage of the game and experience everything at the same time. So, we are sadly left with the option of having to play the game separately while I record my gameplay, so if there is something Maddox is praising or criticizing that's not on screen, please excuse it. Regardless, we both have played this game a ton and are very knowledgeable on it, so we can still work from far apart, and with that, let's start the review with the presentation. Now, for me personally, Wii Sports, along with the other Wii-based games, is rather fugly looking. The game at least does play in a 16:9 aspect ratio and is running in 60 frames per second, but why the hell Nintendo thought it was okay to release a console in 2006 that doesn't support HDMI or even 720p through component output after the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 came out is ridiculous. Thankfully, you can at least play all Wii games in HD today through use of HDMI adapters or by playing them on the Wii U, but who knows what that is. Even with component output and 480p graphics, you can still make Wii games look good if Mario Galaxy is any indication, but the Wii series of games consistently delivered muddy textures, plastic character models, and generic environments, and Wii Sports is one of the worst. At least other Wii games could get somewhat creative with better color palettes, but because Wii Sports is based on real-world environments with graphics that look like they were made with Play-Doh, it doesn't get many chances to be creative and suffers for it. The sound design is decent, better than many 3DS games, but it doesn't excuse the poor quality graphics in my opinion.
Wii Sports has characters they can play as, and they're called Miis. You make the Miis yourself to make them look like you. The models look okay. They sometimes have no legs or arms, most of the time they do. And that's all. So on to the game. First off, we have tennis. So tennis, you just wave the Wii remote and hit the tennis ball. The controls are simple but sometimes fail. Sometimes you hit the ball and sometimes you miss, because the game feels like it. When I play, it usually works, but sometimes when I'm winning, the Mii freaks out and misses the ball. It gets very annoying, especially when the CPU comes back from 40-0 just because of the controls. Imagine Serena Williams losing the US Open because of Wii controls.
As Maddox said, the controls can be very hit and miss. Sometimes they work, but most of the time for me, they just don't. I can't tell you how many times I swung my arm right, but the Mii swung left. It's the same problem as swing mode in Mario Tennis Aces. The controls don't correlate with the characters at all, and it can get extremely annoying. I was playing with a Wii Remote Plus 2, which is supposed to be more accurate, even in these pre-Wii Motion Plus games, but I don't see it here at all. And the CPUs are the same. Sometimes they're easy, but other times they're ungodly annoying, and it makes me wonder why there was no difficulty selection. And the worst part is that if you hit fastballs on every shot, you can easily cheese it and win. What a joke. At least you can play as many rounds as you want, or play by yourself on two sides. The customization is pretty decent, but when it comes to playing by yourself, all it ends up being for me is a waggle fest, and that hurts my arm after a little while. Also, the lack of music in this game makes it feel really awkward, as if something's missing. Especially when sound effects start playing when one team does really well. It just feels out of place. So overall, Tennis has bland and unappealing graphics, wonky motion controls, no music, and subpar CPUs. I personally wouldn't recommend it compared to the other games in the package, but I know a lot of people, Maddox included, who like this one. So maybe give it a shot. It may differ between consoles, games, or controllers.
So on to baseball. Now my favorite sport in the world. So, in baseball, you swing the remote to hit and act like you're pitching to throw a pitch. That's it. You don't run, you don't field, you can't even choose the bases to run to. It's all automatic, and it gets boring at times, because you can only hit and pitch. I wish there was more, but it's a simple game. The controls are pretty good, but could be better. With pitching, you can throw different pitches by holding A or B, and use the D-pad to locate your pitch. You can also change your pitching motion with 1 or 2, with 2 being sidearm. When you first start playing, it's really easy, maybe even too easy, and then it gets harder and harder and harder until you can barely even get a hit or get anyone out. Remember that for later. The game gets so hard that doesn't make sense. It's like the CPU in this game is taking steroids, Barry Bonds style. This game is not an MLB The Show or Mario Baseball game. It's a game to show off the motion controls, and it gets really hard too quickly. I think this is harder than Mario Baseball in some ways.
Excuse me?
The game is fun at first, but then it just becomes annoying. Other baseball games are supposed to get gradually harder as time goes on, like MLB The Show and Mario Baseball. But this game just gets too hard quickly. Also with those games, you can choose your difficulty, but in this game you can't.
Many of Maddox's points are similar, if identical to what I experienced. While I haven't necessarily played enough of baseball to go up the huge difficulty spike it gets, I am somewhere in the middle, and a lot of times it just feels unfair. The outfielders are so annoying. For some reason, you can't control the outfielders. The CPUs are usually pretty damn good, but whether or not it's bad luck, my guys almost always suck. They're slow to the ball, they can't catch it, and you can't do anything about it. And it makes the times when the CPU gets to go to third base feel unfair, as I had no part in that. Why wasn't there an option to plug in the nunchuck to play as the outfielders like Mario Super Sluggers? Or at least make the AI smarter. Batting itself feels alright, but it feels like you have to hold the Wii Remote in a specific way for the best swing that's never told to you. Otherwise, you'll be holding the bat sideways or inside of your Mii when you swing, which can cause you to mess up. Pitching feels okay, but similar to the fielders, your Mii will occasionally slip up and throw a straight ball, and with the awful AI, you better pray to Hylia that the computer doesn't get a triple. Although I found that the computer dropped balls more often, but that just makes me feel like I got a good shot because of pure dumb luck. I don't feel accomplished. Maybe it's excusable while playing with friends in person, but that's not much of an excuse. Mario Super Sluggers does do this too, but its AI on both sides was much smarter to accommodate for that. You still have the option to do it yourself, and it only happens once or twice a game. Here, it happens multiple times per game. Also, just like in Super Sluggers and Superstar Baseball, your pitcher can get tired and start messing up shots a lot more often, but whereas in those games you could change the pitcher, you can't do anything here. If your pitcher gets tired, you have to deal with it for the rest of the game. It may not have happened to me, but if it happened to the computer, I'm sure it can happen to the people. Honestly, the fact that I still enjoy baseball because of its simple nature is astonishing. Thank goodness that batting is so fun. And here, there is a nicer color palette than other games. I can recommend it to those who just want a simple baseball game, but otherwise, you're better off playing Mario Superstar Baseball or Super Sluggers.
Next off, we have the one, the only, bowling. The controls are simple. You hold down the B button, swing your arm up, and then release B. You can move your B left or right, or if you press A, you can angle your ball. Also, when you release, you can curve the ball by turning the Wii Remote left or right. It's pretty simple, but it gets fun and addictive fast. It doesn't really get hard at all, and it's a blast to play with friends and family. It's the most basic one here, and that's what makes it so popular. It's easy for people who never played games before to pick up a controller and play, and that's why it's probably the best one here. But it's not perfect. Sometimes the ball just curves too much or doesn't at all. Sometimes it's a hit or miss, but most of the time it is a hit. I also feel that even when I release the ball at the right time, it just drops. Also, it's pretty basic to be honest. But what do you expect? It's plain old bowling that's really fun.
Honestly, that's all there is to say. I will add though that the ball's curving is broken. Every time you get a split and try to aim the ball in one direction, even if it's been curving that way for the whole game, it will turn the opposite way. There's no hiding it, it's rigged. You need to get really lucky to make a split, which can be very annoying. Other than that though, the game is fantastic. Its simple nature makes it easy to understand for almost anyone while also maintaining that arcade-like feeling. It's so simple, but that's what makes it so addicting. It's easy to learn, but hard to master. The pin movements most of the time are stunningly realistic, and it's wonderful. This game is so fun that it's usually the only one I come back to Wii Sports for. However, I wish they got more creative with the graphics. They could have done so much. They could have had special lighting, chairs, bowling balls. There was so much missed potential. The beige looks incredibly ugly, and it's not like there weren't any possibilities like baseball or golf. Speaking of which...
Golf is the fourth game in this collection and probably the most boring one here. It's supposed to be relaxing most of the time, but it just gets boring quickly. So with the motion controls, you can hold down A and just swing. You aim where you want to swing. The reason is because of the wind. With the wind, it can change the way the ball goes. So say if the ball's hit straight and the wind was 20 miles per hour to the right, it will turn right. There's also water hazards to avoid. When you swing, there's a meter on the side of the screen, and it doesn't work most of the time. Either I swing too much or swing too little. You almost never get the right amount. It just gets annoying and boring after a while, which makes you play golf less.
This may be where I disagree the most with you, Maddox. Personally, I think that golf succeeds in making a fun, yet relaxing experience, especially compared to boxing. For me, I found the controls to be surprisingly responsive and even impressive with how well it worked. Sometimes it did get annoying, especially when I tried to hit a 3 on the meter, but otherwise it's fine. Now for me personally, since golf is arguably the longest one in the package, especially with the 9-hole course, I don't see myself playing this one that much with others. And if I want to play a golf game on my own, my favorite will always be Mario Golf World Tour on 3DS. This game doesn't really stand out much in comparison to other games, and it isn't as short as the other games, making it harder to pick up and play. And again, the graphics don't help in that department. So it's pretty good, but it isn't as, for lack of a better word, independent as the others. I'd say try it out and see how you feel about it.
And the final sport in this game is boxing. The one I played the least. I don't know why. I've only played boxing a couple times. I think it's because you need a nunchuck to play the game, but I'm not sure. Some controls are pretty simple. You only use motion controls and swing the Wii remote and nunchuck to punch. That's it. Yeah, not gonna lie, I just found out that the nunchuck has motion controls in it.
Ha! Loser!
Shut up, Kevin. You haven't seen sunlight in 6 years. So the controls work most of the time. Well, plenty of times when I punch, it doesn't register. I don't know if it's just because I punch too fast or what.
Oh boy, these goddamn controls. Well, they almost never work. I swing constantly, really fast, no punches come out. I slow down, and it still misreads my movements. There's no pleasing this thing. They're so bad, they feel like they weren't play-tested. And at a certain point, it'll get so hard that the CPU will continuously pummel you before you get a chance to swing once. And with these heinous controls, it's practically luck-based. You thought baseball got too hard after a while? You haven't seen anything yet. You can do other moves like the hook or low shot, but the controls are so bad that triggering these moves is as rare as finding an official Mario game on a Sony console. Once again, not even Wii Motion Plus saves this, or improves it at all in any way, shape, or form. Boxing starts out as too easy to be fun, evolves into too annoying to be fun, and carries its crappy controls all the way through. The only good thing you could say about this one is that the graphics in this area look decent. At least they're better than everything else except baseball. Overall, I would not recommend boxing, and I implore you to stay far, far away from this. Finally, there's the training and fitness modes. These are just small challenges that were made to help players improve, with fitness in particular being a stepping stone towards Wii Fit. They're fine, nothing special, but I do appreciate the effort made to help these stand out with the change or removal of certain assets and set pieces. But again, this isn't something you need to play, especially considering how easy to learn the games are.
So Wii Sports in general is a good game, but it's not perfect. The difficulty just gets hard too quickly in some game modes, and some controls are a joke. It's a fun game to play with friends and family, and to exercise. But after you play all the game modes, there isn't really anything else to do except the fitness mode.
But honestly, it didn't have to be this way. Again, Wii Sports is primarily bogged down by annoying difficulty spikes, unappealing visuals, and motion controls that have aged like milk. Even if bowling is replayable enough to keep me popping the game back in, the game is $30 now, and people should know if it's really worth it. So, yes, the motion controls are the ideal way to play this game, even if they aren't great, but Wii Sports, in my opinion, just hasn't aged well. I wish it got the new Play Control treatment, where after Wii Sports Resort and the Wii Motion Plus released, Wii Sports got re-released with Wii Motion Plus support in all games and some new ones to boot. That way, years later, we wouldn't be stuck with the awkward tennis swings or the unresponsive boxing punches. And I know someone out there will say, "Oh, what about Wii Sports Club?" And yeah, that is technically what I wanted. But the problem is that the game is rare and expensive as all hell, and it's on the Wii U. Wii Sports is certainly not worth $30, but I'd say that if you can scoop it up for $15 or less, go for it. Bowling alone is addictive enough to keep you playing for a long time, and while they aren't perfect, I still mostly enjoyed my time with baseball and golf. There's truly something for everyone in Wii Sports, but it certainly hasn't stood the test of time in some aspects, even if it is still good.
I agree with Kevin with them adding more sports in the game. They could have added soccer or hockey, or they could have added, like, Grand Theft Auto 5, you know, the NFL's favorite game. And on that note, the review is over. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I make Nintendo and baseball content. Well, I'm starting to make baseball content.
If you liked today's review, consider subscribing to my channel for more. I make in-depth reviews of games, and I got a couple other videos currently in the making. And don't forget to go follow us on Twitter for updates on new videos, our thoughts on recent news, or just random crap. Links will be in the description. Thanks for watching, have a wonderful day, and...
The Yankees have 26 championships in a pocket watch. Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest.
Ew, it's hairy down there.